The Accor Arena pulses with raw energy, a cauldron of noise and anticipation. Paris, the city of romance, transforms tonight into a coliseum of war. 1 year ago, Benoit Saint Denis staggered from this same cage, his face a swollen testament to defeat, carved up by Renato Moicano's relentless fists in the main event of UFC Paris 2024. The French crowd, so fiercely loyal, watched their warrior crumble, their dreams of a hometown hero dimmed in the harsh light of the octagon. The scars ran deeper than the bruises. Doubt crept in, whispers that the god of war had burned too bright, too fast. But tonight, under these blazing lights, Saint Denis returns. Not just for redemption, but for vengeance. His opponent, Mauricio Ruffy, Brazil's knockout artist, a man whose hands have shattered 11 of 12 opponents. Ranked 15th in the lightweight division, Ruffy is a rising star, a striker of terrifying precision, backed by the fighting nerds camp of Caio Baralho. The bookmakers see him as the favorite, the odds tilted against the Frenchman. But in Saint Denis's eyes, there's no fear, only a predator's unyielding stare. The cage door locks. The crowd's roar shakes the arena's steel beams. Saint Denis doesn't flinch. He moves with purpose, his frame coiled, his mind razor-sharp. Ruffy, all swagger and power, bounces on his toes, hands heavy with the promise of destruction. The bell rings, and the fight ignites. Saint Denis wastes no time. He surges forward, a tidal wave of intent, closing the distance before Ruffy can unleash his bombs. The Frenchman's plan is clear. Drag this striker into deep waters, where fists falter and grappling reigns. He shoots for a takedown, his arms clamping onto Ruffy like iron. The Brazilian resists, but Saint Denis is relentless, driving him to the mat with the force of a man possessed. The crowd erupts, their chants a heartbeat. BSD, BSD. The first round is a masterclass. Saint Denis chains takedowns, each one a hammer blow to Ruffy's confidence. He hunts the neck, his arms snaking for a choke, testing the Brazilian's resolve. Ruffy scrambles, his striking arsenal useless in the suffocating grip of Saint Denis's grappling. The round ends, and the arena knows. This is no comeback, it's a reckoning. If you feel the pulse of this sport, the raw drama of the cage, join us. Subscribe now and walk with us through the stories that define MMA. The second round begins, and Ruffy's corner screams for movement, for distance, for anything to keep their fighter upright. But Saint Denis smells blood. He stalks forward, undeterred by Ruffy's desperate jabs. Another takedown, clean and brutal, plants the Brazilian on the canvas. The crowd's roar is deafening, a tidal wave of French pride. Saint Denis transitions like a predator, his movements fluid, his pressure unrelenting. Ruffy's eyes betray him, panic seeping in, the realization that his knockout power is a ghost in this fight. Saint Denis locks in a choke, his forearms tightening like a vice. The Brazilian fights, twists, gasps. Then he taps. The Accor Arena explodes, a release of pin-up hope and fury. France 2, Brazil 0, with the main event still to come. Nasruddin Imavov against Caio Baralho. But this moment belongs to Saint Denis. He rises, chest heaving, the god of war reborn. 1 year ago, he left this arena broken. His face was a roadmap of pain, eyelids swollen, cheekbones bruised, eyes half closed under the weight of Moicano's fists. That loss wasn't just a defeat, it was a crucible. The lightweight division, a shark tank ruled by names like Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan, and Charles Oliveira, doesn't forgive setbacks. A single misstep can send a fighter tumbling from the top 15 to the prelims, scrapping for relevance. Saint Denis felt that weight. The French fans, so passionate, so unforgiving, watched their hero falter. Social media buzzed with doubters, some calling him overhyped, a soldier who'd peaked too soon. Pundits questioned his chin, his endurance, his place among the elite. But Saint Denis didn't break. He retreated to the gym, to the mats, to the relentless grind of a fighter who knows pain is just the forge for greatness. His team, a tight-knit brotherhood, never wavered. They saw the fire still burning in him, the hunger that no loss could extinguish. Tonight, that fire consumes Ruffy. The Brazilian was no easy prey. A product of the fighting nerds, training alongside Baralho, He walked into Paris as a wrecking ball. His record gleamed with knockouts, 11 in 12 fights, each one a viral clip of devastation. Fans online hyped him as the future, a striker with the speed and power to climb toward Ilia Topuria's throne. His sparring footage, leaked on social media, showed hands that moved like lightning, leaving partners dazed. Some called him untouchable, a man who could redefine the division's striking hierarchy. But Saint Denis didn't care about the reels or the hype. He saw a man, not a myth. A puzzle to solve, a neck to choke, a fight to win. His game plan was surgical: neutralize the hands, take the fight to the ground, impose his will. And he executed it with the precision of a guillotine. The lightweight division is a brutal ecosystem. Matchmaking is a chess game, where every move carries the weight of a career. A loss tonight could have buried Saint Denis, sent him to the fringes, fighting unranked prospects while the top 10 marched on. His coach, Nicolas Odd, laid it bare in a documentary that captured the stakes. A defeat would be catastrophic, a long, grueling climb back to relevance. The pressure was immense. The division's top dogs, Makhachev's suffocating grappling, Sarukian's relentless pace, Oliveira's submission wizardry, cast long shadows. Even the middle ranks, fighters like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, are killers who leave no room for error. Saint Denis, ranked 13th, knew a win was his only path forward. Beating Ruffy, a dangerous 15th-ranked contender, wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. He's not just clinging to the top 15. He's clawing for the top 10. The French crowd carries him now, their voices a swelling tide of pride. They see one of their own rising, a soldier from Nîmes who fights with the heart of a nation. Saint Denis stands in the cage, sweat dripping, his voice steady as he speaks. There's no magic in the cage, he says, his words cutting through the noise. It's just work, blood and work. He thanks the fans, their faith a lifeline after last year's heartbreak. He acknowledges the doubters, the ones who wrote him off, and answers them with a performance that silences skepticism. Social media explodes. Fans call it a masterclass, a return to form. BSD is a problem, one post reads. That grappling is nightmares. Pundits recalculate rankings, some already slotting him above fighters like Rafael Fiziev or Mateusz Gamrot. The narrative shifts. Saint Denis is no longer the man who fell. He's the man who rose. The fight itself was a clinic, a dissection of Ruffy's game. Saint Denis didn't just win, he dominated. His grappling was a blanket, smothering Ruffy's striking before it could ignite. The first round saw him chain takedowns with ruthless efficiency, each one sapping the Brazilian's confidence. Ruffy's hands, so feared on the feet, never found their mark. Saint Denis's pressure was suffocating, his transitions seamless, his submission attempts a constant threat. By the second round, Ruffy's composure cracked. His eyes, wide with desperation, told the story of a man drowning in deep waters. The choke, when it came, was inevitable, a rear naked that forced the tap like a blade to the throat. The crowd's roar was primal, a release of a year's worth of frustration, of hope deferred but never abandoned. Paris tonight is a city reborn. The Accor Arena, once a house of pain for Saint Denis, is now his cathedral. The French MMA scene, long overshadowed by global powers, feels ascendant. Nassourdine Imavov's main event against Baralho looms, but this moment belongs to Saint Denis. He's not just a fighter, he's a symbol of resilience, of grit, of a nation's growing footprint in the sport. Fans online buzz with pride. France is taking over, one writes. BSD and Imavov are building something special. The lightweight division, so fiercely contested, now has a Frenchman knocking louder than ever. New York calls in November. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of combat sports, has been kind to Saint Denis before. He's tasted victory there, felt the roar of a global stage. Now, with this win, he's ready to return. I feel good, he says, his voice calm but ironclad. I'm surrounded by the right people. I know I can beat a top 10. His confidence isn't bravado, it's certainty, forged in the gym, tempered by last year's loss. The lightweight elite are on notice. The god of war isn't just back, he's marching toward their thrones. Tonight, in Paris, Benoit Saint Denis has reclaimed his fire. The cage, the crowd, the future, they're all his.